Hey scrappers, if you're looking to figure out what materials you should sell this week or hold this week, now is the time to do it. Our weekly report is going to give you that information, up-to-date market news, pricing. Let's get right into it and we'll talk about it inside. Hey guys, Tom from iScrap. Today is November 2nd. I can't believe we have 2 months left in the year, and it's almost less than that when you think about holidays and different closures for scrap yards. So that's a really good thing to keep in mind. Make sure before you go to your scrap yards around those Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's holidays, you know their hours. So that's one of the most important things, because not all the scrap yards remember to update them online. So what's going on with the markets? Well, it's Wednesday afternoon when we're recording this, and in the next 2 or 3 hours, we're expecting another increase from the Federal Reserve on interest rates. So what is that going to do for the scrap market? We've seen steel prices decreasing. We've seen fuel prices increasing. We've seen a strain on supply chains starting to ease, but we have seen a lot of production slowing down. So the federal increase is probably going to hurt scrap prices a little bit, because what is the Fed trying to do? They're trying to tap down inflation. And one of the reasons, I was reading some YouTube comments earlier today, and people were like, oh, I'm holding all my metals because I want the prices to go back up next year. And I don't think that's going to happen. And that's one of the reasons that we've been suggesting to sell so many different materials instead of holding on to them. Those big run-ups in the commodity prices in 2021, they were awesome for scrap, right? I'm not going to sit here and tell you otherwise, but they're not awesome for consumers. And what do I mean? If you're looking to buy a car, a refrigerator, anything that has metal, electronics, things like that, things were really expensive last year to scrap and recycle. That means that these automakers, these electronics manufacturers, and other manufacturers had to spend more money on those commodities, which means it cost them more money, which means their products cost more money to make, even if labor didn't increase, which it did. So now when they go to sell stuff, it's going to be more expensive to sell stuff, which means as consumers, you and I are going to pay more money for trucks, cars, and anything that has metal in it. So the Federal Reserve is trying to tamp down those inflationary rates, and the interest rates going up is supposed to help that. And that's one of the reasons I don't think that steel prices or other metal prices are going up anywhere close to what we saw in 2021. So that's just kind of what I'm reacting to. The federal rate hasn't gone up. Maybe it goes up 50 basis points instead of 75, but you've seen mortgage rates at 20-year highs. Tech companies, it's more expensive for them to borrow money. What does that mean? Well, if a company like Google wants to borrow money from people, their interest rates are going to go higher. So if they're producing more things, or let's take SpaceX, for instance, who's producing rockets and all these different satellites, their commodities are going to cost more money. The money that they're borrowing from lenders is going to cost more money to repay. So these are all things that affect the scrap metal rates. Now, in the coming weeks, we have an awesome new website that's going to be getting pushed out there, and it's going to be a great thing for you to be able to not only report your prices, but see so many prices that people report all over the US and Canada. So make sure you continue to check our app notifications or our website. We'll have that come in the next few weeks. This is about 12 months in the making, and it takes a long time for things to get made really well. And we're proud of what we're going to be pushing out there to help you learn about the markets and make more money with it. So how do we see the markets going? What do we see going on? Well, we've continued to say and recommend to sell steel sell steel. And, when I was reading those YouTube comments again this morning, everyone's like, oh, okay, steel is the meal. I love steel. I'm holding my steel. Well, I just got another rate notification that markets are dropping another $10 a ton. So we saw a decline in September, a decline in October, a decline in November. So we've now seen these prices going down 3 months in a row. It doesn't look like there's going to be a large run-up anytime soon, especially with what I just talked about with some of these Federal Reserve prices. We haven't even talked about the different gas and diesel and transport prices going up. So I don't think steel is going to be going up anytime soon. And I know some areas of the country have a really difficult time selling things. I saw some scrap yards either paying 1 or 2 pennies a pound for steel. And I saw some people saying my scrap yard will take the steel but not buy it. And unfortunately, that's kind of where we're headed. I think that the steel prices are artificially low. I think they should be at least $50 a ton higher than they are. But when you saw diesel prices going up so high, I think that as a scrapyard, we're paying like $5 to $6 a gallon for diesel, and our trucks are only getting 7 to 10 miles a gallon. So these transportation rates are really, really high. And even though we've seen shipping rates come down, I saw a statistic that said that shipping containers have gone down about 70% from the high prices that we saw 6 to 8 months ago. And that's a good thing, right? But that doesn't mean that it's less expensive to move the material to and from the ports. So these are some of the things that are going on. If you're looking for more information on specific metal prices, go to the website, right? iScrapApp.com. You can always look on your app. We have notifications pushing out there. We have the averages from people posting these prices all the time. And we also have a lot of information on there where you can read our weekly reports. We put them up there every week. The next week we refresh them. Generally, we do it every Wednesday. And if you have questions on our weekly report, comment. We respond to almost all of the comments when people have questions or they tell us what they're doing. So some other things that I've really been watching over the last week: aluminum prices, a decline between 2 and 5 cents per pound. And I read a comment this morning saying that, hey, I saw the aluminum prices up on the LME, the London Metal Exchange. When will scrap prices react? And what I've learned, and this is really a good tip if you do follow those prices, when the copper prices, the aluminum prices, the nickel prices have increases on the trading side of things, scrap generally takes 3 to 5 days just to start to catch up. But when they have decreases, scrap immediately has decreases because we know that our future sales orders are not going to be as strong. So when you go to the scrap yard, they're going to be moving stuff as quickly as they can. And I know a few people that are hurting for material because a lot of people aren't selling right now, or they moved everything out because they saw the market decreasing and now they have nothing to move, process, or work on. So we have a whole different set of problems. I did give a tip a few weeks ago, and we gave it to our YouTube members only, and I'll share it briefly here. If for some reason you want to hold on to steel, you might want to start looking into your own vessels. There are dumpsters coming off of garbage companies and other things that you can buy relatively inexpensive. If you have an area to store them and you can put a tarp on them, you can save your really heavy steel. And most scrapyards will run customers' containers as long as you let them know. And this will be a way for you to be able to store stuff up. We actually were picking up 2 dumpsters from a garbage company today that they didn't want anymore. They didn't need anymore. And they're not really roadworthy, but we're going to use them to put some things in and store them. And these are all over the place, especially when you look on different marketplaces, Craigslist, Facebook, and even industrial websites that have different auctions out there. So what else is going on? Our member-only videos are getting posted 2 to 3 times a month minimum. So if you want to learn more about the markets by becoming a member, let us know. Nickel prices have continued to stay steady, but stainless prices have continued to decline, even though a lot of the articles that I'm reading are talking about future nickel being involved in these EV markets. I read an article earlier today. They're predicting that by 2040, which is only 17 to 18 years from now, that 90% of the cars being made are going to be electric vehicles. So it's going to be really interesting to see what transition is going to go on in the next 20 years, where lithium prices are so high, they're going to need new alternatives. So we're going to watch these markets, and eventually these prices will catch back up, but we're just in such an inflationary period, possible recessionary period. Who knows what's going to go on? Let us know what else you want us to talk about. Don't forget to check the website and post the prices that you get for your scrap. Any other questions, comment below. And until next week, I'll scrap you later.
Thanks for checking out this scrap video. For more exclusive scrap video content, please become a YouTube member of our channel today. Thank you, and I'll scrap you later.